the number one thing black kids need to learn how to do? Get along with each other without killing each other off.
Absolutely.
You can't do that with his child isolated in his house, and your child isolated in a separate house, and your child isolated in another house, and my child isolated in another house. How do they ever learn black community conflict resolution? How do they ever learn peaceful negotiation with violence? You're still keeping them isolated from one another. If it's one thing black children got to be taught how to do, it's how to work together for the benefit of the black community. You can't do that at a home school. And let's go to the curriculum. Let's say I designed the curriculum. I'm the principal, right? How do I know it's being implemented in your home the right way? How do I know it's being implemented in your home the right way? How do I know it's being implemented in his home the right way? Homeschooling is not a solution. It's a temporary intervention. The solution is for us to build our own schools, but black people ain't got time for that, because black people ain't got the time for nothing that benefits the collective that requires them to use their money. And the reason why we are dead last in this country, politically, economically, and socially, is we do not use our disposable income to benefit our own. $30 billion on hair, $2 billion on Air Jordans every year, $4 billion on liquor, $800 million on chicken, turkey, beef, and pork, about $41 million on children's cologne. You mean to tell me we could spend $40 million a year on children's cologne, but we can't even open up our own schools? And then you got Negroes running around talking about we need black history in the schools. I'm not supporting that. And people ask me, Dr. Umar, don't you think our kids need to know who they are? Yes, but I don't want no snow bunny teaching them who they are and where they come from. Why do I want a white woman teaching my daughter Fannie Lou Hamer? Why do I want a white woman teaching my daughter Ida B. Wells? Why do I want a white woman teaching my daughter Mary McLeod Bethune? Why do I want a white woman teaching my daughter Queen Mother Harriet Tubman? Why do I want a white man teaching my son the Honorable Marcus Garvey? Why do I want a white man teaching my son the Honorable Nat Turner? Why do I want a white man teaching my son Bishop Henry McNeil Turner? They have no business interpreting our racial experience to our children. That's our job. Now, last time I checked, we have an explosion in African studies programs at HBCUs and PWIs, right?
Yes.
So if you got thousands of black people with a PhD in African studies, why the hell they can't teach the kids? You know why? They want to get paid. Negroes are selfish and Negroes are greedy, and we don't want to do nothing for ourselves unless the white man paying for it. The reason the world doesn't feel sorry for American blacks is we got enough money to change our whole reality. But guess what? We more concerned with looking good and outdoing the next Negro as opposed to cooperating with each other so we can all do better. We're the only race who doesn't weaponize our money to benefit ourselves. Mexican dollar is weaponized for Mexican people. Chinese dollar is weaponized for Chinese people. The Jewish dollar is weaponized for Jewish people. The Arab dollar is weaponized for Arab people. When is the last time the black dollar been weaponized? It ain't never been weaponized. Why you think you don't get no respect when you go out and vote? Next November, they're expecting us to go and vote for old crusty Biden or old crusty Trump. Neither one of them are going to do anything for black folks, and they don't have to. You want to know why? Because we haven't weaponized our dollars or our votes along a black community agenda, forced them to follow it in exchange for the vote. We voting as Democrats. We voting as Republicans. We not voting as black people, and that's why we gonna lose. Jews vote as Jews. Mexicans vote as Mexicans. The LGBT vote as LGBT. When black people gonna vote as black people? Until we put the race first. Until we start fighting for what we need as a people, we'll never get nothing. Because if you're not important to yourself, why would you be important to the United States government?
All right, so this is where I want to chime in at. I respect everything you say, and I agree with a lot of points that you say, but it's points that I have to point out. So I went to private school, as most of you know, so I don't know much about the public school education. I went to private school all my life. The private school I went to was a Christian private school, CCA Academy. Shout out to Christ Crusader Academy. I am a Christ Crusader, always will be. That's who I am. Now, when I went to school, sometime around that time, they came to us and they said that they was taking the Bible and the scriptures out of schools. They said when they did that, that was going to affect everything. Now, for a fact, I know that is a fact, because if we was being educated about God, so many of these things that the brothers spoke about is dealt with right on a godly level. Now, being that I am who I am and I come from a Christ background, my enemy will never be a man. There's no flesh and bone that could ever be my enemy. And I have to make that clear. I wrestle against Satan. I wrestle against the principality. Now, the principality can control, various people. That could be any color, any person, anything. I can't focus on a race or a color because that's not real. Anyone is breathing the life of God. And you are God's children. And God is no respecter of no person. He deals with you as long as you are in accord. Now, if you study the scripture, which I know you know, our people are under a curse because we were disobedient. Our people are under a curse because at some point we disobeyed the laws of God and we went our own way. And that is scripturally for thousands of years said that this was going to happen. Now, at this point, when I'm in private school and they tell us that Bible is being taken out the school, I didn't know, there was no charter schools at that time. This is what I witnessed with my own eyes. I'm from Harlem. The first charter schools, I don't know where they came from, but I seen them in Harlem. They were imitating the private school. So in private school, I had to wear a uniform. Every day we stood out. Everybody knew who we were. It was no confusion. Those are private school kids. Those are Catholic school kids, because we had to wear straight uniforms. Now, when they opened up the charter schools and they started putting them in uniforms, it confused the whole system. And now you don't know, is that a private school kid or is that a charter school kid? Now, because I didn't go to a charter school, maybe they didn't have Bible. Maybe they didn't have education. Maybe they didn't teach them the things that they was teaching us in a Bible school, that is dealing with scripture, that is teaching you how to be in accord with Christ. So now, speed up to the future, all of these things happen. You know what I'm saying? During the same time, rap music went from an educational standpoint to almost glorifying gangster rap standpoint. All of these things happen in the attack. Now, I have to understand, do I blame a man for any of this? No, the devil is really wicked. He's really the prince of darkness. And those who understand me know that he exists. And if he exists, he takes you over through your mind. So the weakening of our mind and not getting the education of Christ. People coming around, and no disrespect to you, because I think you know this. People coming around say, oh, he's a white man. This is a white man's religion. All of that hurt, because the truth is, the whole scripture is Black history. The truth is, the scriptures is all dealing with actually Negroes.